Greetings everyone and welcome to my March 2021 Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for my 60 card fusion deck. I'm going to start by showing you the fusion material monsters here. So to begin with, we have 3 copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon, and ordinarily we don't show any spells before we finish showing the monsters, but I do want to show the 2 copies of Polymerization right now because every other card in this deck is being played at only a single copy. Next up we have Dark Magician and Buster Blader, as well as Zombyra the Dark and Maryokutai. So these fusion material monsters go together to bring out their respective fusion monsters. We have Summoned Skull, but I'm not playing Red Eyes Black Dragon in the main deck. There are several cards like this that will require a fusion substitute monster like Versago the Destroyer or King of the Swamp. And King of the Swamp is also useful because it searches Polymerization. For other cards like that, we're playing Spirit Reaper, as well as Relinquished, which are just legendary cards on their own. The Forgiving Maiden makes a nice defensive wall, and it's also useful to summon St. Joan, as well as Kangaroo. This can be brought out with Mystic Tomato and brings out Master of Oz. Also, we have Dark Blade. Don't underestimate the power of an 1800 beater. That can go into a fusion material monster. That's it for the fusion material. So next up we have the searchers. There are Sangan and Witch of the Black Forest, which can search nearly everything in the deck, as well as Mystic Tomato, which can bring out both of these cards. The card like Mystic Tomato is Mother Grizzly, which can bring out some of those water monsters. There aren't too many of those, so I'm also playing Sinister Serpent and Revival Jam, which besides being good on their own, help make Mother Grizzly more playable. The skilled White Magician brings out Buster Blader, and the skilled Dark Magician brings out Dark Magician. And finally we have Manju of the 10,000 Hands to search Relinquished and its spell card, the Black Illusion Ritual. Next up, we have the tech choices. So here is a bit of a warrior package with DD Warrior Lady, Exiled Force, Trap Master, and Armed Ninja. These are the removal cards. You have monster removal over here and back row removal over here, which comes together to give answers to deal with problems that your opponent can present you. Magician of Faith gets spells back from the graveyard, which is really good, and I'm now playing enough traps in the deck to make Mask of Darkness worth playing. Getting traps back, not as good as getting spells back, but still pretty good. So we're playing some powerful traps in here. With all those flip monsters, Night Assailant is really good. It's just a upgraded Man-Eater bug that can help you get your flip monsters back. And the last flip monster I'm playing is Penguin Soldier. Penguin Soldier is just a really awesome tech choice, especially works with cards like Lava Golem to get it back to your hand and use it again and again. Another card with a similar effect is Wall of Illusion, which this can just frustrate your opponent and give you something to hide behind while you build your hand. Breaker the Magical Warrior, just a really good card. Asura Priest is good for dealing with swarms. Kycoo the Ghost Destroyer locks your opponent out of banishing cards, which is good for summoning cards like Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, which I am playing myself because why not? And that is it for the monsters in this deck. So next up we have the spell cards. With the board wipes, we have Dark Hole and Raigeki. Next up we have Swords of Revealing Light, another nice card to hide behind and build our hands. Monster Reborn, Mystical Space Typhoon, Black Illusion Ritual, Nobleman of Crossout to deal with those face-down monsters. United We Stand works with Scapegoat, and, you know, just whenever you have a lot of monsters, it's just always a good card. Harpie's Feather Duster, another board wipe for the back row. Reinforcement of the Army to get those warrior monsters out of the deck. And finally, we have the Inherent -1s, Book of Moon, and Enemy Controller, which, if you're a skilled duelist, you know that even though these cards are a -1 on paper, can generate tremendous advantage, getting your normal summon and flip effects again and again. Next up, there's Mirror Force. You gotta play Mirror Force so that your opponent plays around Mirror Force. Dust Tornado is just a trap version of Mystical Space Typhoon, useful to remove back row. And Call of the Haunted brings back monsters. That's always really good. Torrential Tribute is another board wipe that you can activate on your opponent's turn, which is excellent. Magic Cylinder, so I encountered a situation where I had Relinquished and Mirror Force, and I had to Mirror Force my opponent's monster, and then when it came back to my turn, Relinquished had nothing to equip, and it would have been better to have Magic Cylinder, so I decided to start playing that in this deck. Bottomless Trap Hole is really good to make your opponent stumble, and Compulsory Evacuation Device, like Book of Moon, get your normal summon and flip effects over again. But mostly you're going to be using these kind of cards on your opponent, right? So next up we have the extra deck. So we can summon Black Skull Dragon, Thousand Eyes Restrict, Saint Joan, The Last Warrior from Another Planet, Reaper on the Nightmare, Dark Paladin, Master of Oz, Darkblade the Dragon Knight, and Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. These are all the old school fusion monsters that are in this deck. I do have a few Xyz monsters just to take advantage of the fact that this deck can summon them. We have number 39 Utopia, Wind Up Zen Manies, Gaga Cowboy, and Abyss Dweller. Trying to play Abyss Dweller was kind of the inspiration for bringing Mother Grizzly into this deck. And finally, the newest cards in this deck are the Dragons of Legend, Amulet Dragon, and Dark Magician Girl the Dragon Knight, which I actually go into quite often. Finally, we have the side deck. So there's the third copy of Polymerization. Red Eyes Black Dragon is in here, as well as Soul Exchange. A lot of tribute monsters in the side deck. So if I side into them, Soul Exchange works with those. Solemn Judgment, expensive but powerful disruption. Jinzo, this is a good one to side into, makes it easy to side out of my traps. DNA Surgery is good against specific decks, but Calling Dragon really helps out Buster Blader, as well as the Dark Paladin. Prohibition, there are a lot of decks that this card can just beat. Thousand Eyes Idol as another fusion material. Defusion is a nice tech choice against other fusion decks. And Fusion Gate is against decks that aren't playing fusion. Marie the Fallen One also works with Soul Exchange. Nightmare Horse, it can attack directly. This can work with United We Stand. Pitch Dark Dragon, this card is not much better than Thousand Eyes Idol. We have Tribute Doll, so that I can summon these extra level 7 monsters like Big Koala. And that is it for the deck profile. So now I just wanted to discuss, coming back to what I was talking about in my previous videos about style and how you want to play the game. This deck is designed primarily for the official tournament format, so this can be taken into locals, and a ranked game can be played in the current format because it obeys the current ban list. But obviously the advantage of using older cards is that this deck can be played in older formats, and although these aren't actually in a technical part of my deck, I do carry around just a few extra cards if somebody wants to play around in an older format. I'm ready to go. So the only stake that a deck like this would have in any part of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Rat race of keeping up with the meta is the ban list. So obviously with a card like Harpie's Feather Duster in here that was recently unbanned, that was a nice boost to the deck. So I do look forward to every ban list to see if an old card does come off. One of the things I like the most about old formats is there isn't a restriction on deck sizes, so you can shuffle your side deck into your extra deck, and this example of this deck have a 75 card deck, which is the way I played back in the day. Me and my friends all had these monstrous decks. So let me know down in the comments what you think of this deck, and give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and make sure to click that subscribe button because we've got videos coming up in the future. I'm going to have a profile of a different deck and more profiles of this deck as it evolves. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.